Welcome to the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, where it is never too early for fantasy football. My name is, as always, thank you for downloading, listening, liking, and commenting on our podcast video. Please join our community by subscribing to us on the socials. Our handle on all platforms is at N2E Fantasy. We are also available on all major podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy. Alex, what do we have on today's show?
On this episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, we are recapping week 4 action of the NFL, and we're getting you ready for week 5, doing our preview here. Jeff, let's get kickstarted here with the Thursday night NFC West matchup between the Seahawks at the Cardinals. Who do we pick?
So, Alex, we picked the Seahawks. The Seahawks did win a very close matchup on a last-second Myers kick, 23-20. This was a tale of two halves. Kyler and Harrison Jr. struggled in the first half, and they did correct it in the second half. Trey Benson was not great in his first start as a starter, but there were some positive plays in there. But altogether, it wasn't a great night on his first night of being a starter. Walker and Charbonnet, they had enough yards and enough touchdowns to keep them both happy in this game. In a situation where it's going to be lower scoring or a game that's not going to have a lot of rushing touchdowns or rushing yards or opportunities, it's going to be very frustrating backfield to own them in some weeks, and it's going to be hard to pick them if you own both of them. I know there's people that like to handcuff there. And then I know that you're gonna like this one here, but the Seattle Seahawks wide receiver Horton is someone that you should be putting on your bench now-ish, before he does take off. He just missed a long touchdown pass in this game, and I do expect him to be more involved, especially the more comfortable that Sam Darnold feels in this.
Yeah, hopefully he gets more involved next week. I just think with the short week and it being two teams that are a little bit better on defense than they are on offense, it's just a down week for him. But on the Cardinal side, at least Marvin Harrison had a solid game. This one, at least solid finish to the game after a couple struggles early on.
Absolutely, and you saw how much it meant to him to score that touchdown, and I hope they just really build on this because I do think that he could be special, and I think this connection could be special.
All right, let's move on to the Sunday morning international game in Dublin. The Vikings at the Steelers. The Steelers, of course, have, through their owner, some Irish heritage, and Vikings have Kevin O'Connell. So we both went Vikings this one, and the Steelers ended up pulling off the victory. There was some struggles for both of them at points in this game, but this is the calmest and most confident I've seen Aaron Rodgers play all season, and it didn't require much from him to get this going. Kenneth Gainwell had almost 100 yards on the ground, filling in relief for Jaylen Warren here, and he added 6 catches for 35 yards on top of that and 2 touchdowns. Caleb Johnson finally got some carries behind him, so he may be working his way back into the good graces of his coach after some early struggles and kick return issues. Outside of that, DK Metcalf had a huge 80-yard play for a touchdown in this game and finished with 5 catches for 126 yards. Finally having an explosive game here with the Steelers. Meanwhile, Carson Wentz had a mixed bag here, getting 350 yards through the air, but that was on 46 attempts. Struggled with 2 interceptions. Looked a little rough. I know he's one of your favorite guys, but it was enough to get Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison on the board with over 100 yards each.
Absolutely. I'll just rewind to the Gainwell of it all. He had to fill in for Warren, as you said. I did start him in a league this week, which seems slightly unbelievable, but I realized that he actually could have the entire backfield to himself. And he had most of it. I mean, you did mention Caleb Johnson, but I think it'll be Warren Gainwell still going forward, especially because they won the game. So I don't really see much of a need to bump Johnson up the depth chart just yet. Back to the Wentz of it all, he did feed Jefferson. He also Addison in his return from his 3-game suspension, over 100 yards as well. If you own pieces to the Vikings offense, would you rather have Wentz or JJ start down the rest of the season? Like if you owned Hawkinson, Jefferson, Addison, the Suns, would you rather have it Wentz and Sons or McCarthy and Sons?
For fantasy purposes, I'd probably go Wentz. For real football, it's more up in the air, and I would lean JJ, probably. Just because he's got more mobility and can get out of the bad situations this crumbling offensive line can put the quarterback in.
When the offensive line is slowly getting healthier, we'll see if they can put it all back together once they get back to the States. They have one more international game coming up, though.
Pretty sure Wentz starts for this other international game. I don't think JJ's even on the table until they get back.
And there's a rumor that whomever the quarterback is for the Vikings, which I did see JJ McCarthy made the trip, was a little bit surprising, considering he has a newborn at home. They could have left him home with the newborn rehab. He's on the trip. So he could start this week, just based on that. But the Browns might have a new quarterback this week too when we get to the Browns. All right. Let's hop over to the next game here, and this is going to start a trend of Alex kicking my butt in picks this week, and it's the Panthers and the Patriots. I picked the Panthers, he picked the Patriots. The Patriots did win this matchup. Drake May outduels Bryce Young in this matchup, 42-13. I believe, as a Panthers fan, it is time for the Carolina Panthers to start moving off of Bryce Young. It's not something that could be a long-term partnership. Even if they do stick together for the last year of his rookie deal, there can't be a fifth-year option. There can't be an extension. It's just not there. So the offense is not supported with him at all. So that means like Ted McMillan, can't really trust him. I mean, he's probably the most startable piece on this offense right now. Maybe things change when Coker gets back. I don't know if that's like his safety blanket that he's missing, but something changed from the end of last year to now that he's not supporting like Hubbard and McMillan, and nothing looks good. Even in the 30-0 victory, Bryce Young did very little in that caused that result. But some things with the Patriots here, and then I'll turn it over to you. Stevenson looks like still the lead back for the Patriots, which is actually a little bit surprising given his fumbles. He did have the most carries this week, but Henderson is starting to take a little bit more of the backfield. And Stephon Diggs is establishing himself as the go-to weapon for Drake May. First 100-yard day of 2025. Alex, what do you got on this one?
I would like Teterola McMillan to get more action in this offense for the Panthers, and I'm starting to distrust Chuba Hubbard's usage as well on a team that's probably going to play from behind a lot. I don't think Bryce Young is the long-term answer anymore. I agree with you there, but I don't know if Andy Dalton is. For the Patriots, I'm still concerned with the rushing attack here because it seems like it's a three-headed monster. It was almost an even split between Stevenson, Henderson, and Gibson. So that to me is concerning. I would want Henderson to have more of a role here over those two guys. Drake May is a top 5 fantasy quarterback almost every single week, and I think he needs to be treated that way, especially with guys like Burrow being out, with Jaden Daniels being out, with Lamar Jackson being out, and Bo Nix having up and down weeks. There's a lot of people that would normally be in this spot, but May is playing well enough, both as a passer and with his feet, to be a top guy in the league. As far as Stefon Diggs goes, he's getting basically the same catches each week. Like he usually gets 5 or 6-ish. This week he just happened to have had some bigger yardage to go with it. So I still treat him as like a borderline wide receiver 3-2 area. I don't really expect it to pop out of that range. Meanwhile, Hunter Henry is a top touchdown heavy in the points, and it evens out over the year as other guys get more catches. But he is someone I have a hard time considering benching at this point. So I'm starting him basically every week.
Oh, great. Any other takeaways from this? Because I'm about done with this game
All right.
for obvious reasons.
All right, we can move to the Browns at the Detroit Lions. Huh. I am surprised. I mean, we both picked the Lions to win this, and they did win, but I am surprised that they won it 34-10, considering how well Cleveland's defense has played the first few weeks of the year. But it's interesting to me that Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery struggle to have good weeks together. It's like one or the other. Last week, David Montgomery had a huge week. This week, he went 9 rushes for 12 yards, while Jahmyr Gibbs, 15 rushes for 91 yards and a touchdown. And Amon-Ra St. Brown had the only good receiving game for the Lions. Really, the only good receiving game for both teams. While Joe Flacco and Jared Goff both struggled in this matchup, and Quinshon Judkins, it appears like he is the only running back at all in Cleveland getting like 90% of the rushes.
Yeah, I would concur with that. I will say though, to rewind 1 week, because you did mention Gibbs and Montgomery can't have big weeks at the same time. They did have a big week together last week when Montgomery went off. So they can. It's just rare. Just rare. But yeah, Judkins is getting the majority of the work. He's a force on the ground. I can't say your boy because you told me that I can't say that anymore. So you're a player that you favor in Cedric Tillman. He's going to go on IR right now with a injury, which makes Isaiah Bond very interesting. He did go 3 for 58 in this game, which is pretty interesting. Gibbs and St. Brown were on display in this game. On display. And as I had mentioned earlier and teased earlier, the Browns are going to be going in a different direction here. The quarterback is heavily rumored at this point, not official, that Dylan Gabriel will get his first start. Heavily rumored.
I feel like there's no point to Dylan Gabriel being the quarterback because
I
there's
thought you were going to stop at no point to Dylan.
uh, he never made sense to even get drafted. They drafted him over several quarterbacks, including another one on their team, Shador Sanders, and I feel like they're trying to prove a point that they can, I don't know, make something out of the littlest quarterback, or if they can, their scouting department is better than everyone else's, that they identified this kid, but they're gonna play him over Shador, and he may be a solid game manager, but he's gonna suck for fantasy purposes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And a player that you don't favor. See what I'm doing now? I'm changing it up a little bit. Not your buddy and not your favorite player. But Deshaun Watson is rumored to be very close to returning. Well, good decision to make.
Yeah, he shouldn't play a game for Cleveland at all this year.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know what they do with him. During this,
I don't know what to do with him. I just don't think that you can, with stuff that he's done and his deterioration in play, even if he's quote unquote healthy, I don't think he's ever going to be good enough at this point in his career.
absolutely. I really don't know what happened to him in his career because he showed so much promise in his early days in Houston. But yeah, the quarterback carousel begins in Cleveland very shortly, and that was something that we had teased during the previews was a quarterback carousel of sorts. So get ready. All right, so we both did the Lions in that one. We both won. Let's go over to the next matchup where we weren't so lucky. It was the Chargers at the Giants. We both picked the Chargers, which the Chargers were a popular survivor pick this week, and if you picked them, you are out, as the Giants did win this matchup. Dart and the Giants stunned the Chargers 21 to 18. The Giants do lose their star stud wide receiver, Mikael Neighbors, and yeah, we'll see what they can do. Or Malik Neighbors. I don't know why I just said that. And we'll see what Dart can do without a star wide receiver helping along the way, unless you count Wandale Robinson. Wide receiver, do you?
I think Darius Slayton is a priority ad, but I mean, I don't know if you'll get to that point of this.
Yeah,
Get to
I
him
don't
at
know if I'm adding
the
him.
point.
Are you?
Depends on how desperate I am.
How desperate do you need to? You always ask why the Giants bring this guy back.
I mean, again, I'm gonna keep beating the drum for eventually Jalen Hyatt being a thing, but Theo Johnson and Wandale Robinson seem like the most likely to get the big targets here. Darius Slayton by default uh is gonna be involved as well. I don't know if this offense is sustainable giving Cam Scatterbo 25 rushes a game, but
Yeah,
the Giants getting the upset is pretty incredible.
yeah. I will say some positive things about the Chargers, though. Even though they did take the loss in this one, they did lose their second left tackle for an extended period here as well. But Hampton assumed the lead back role. I do question if the Chargers ran enough. He got 12 carries for 128 yards and one touchdown. Does not 12 carries does not seem like enough in a 3-point game. So that's one thing that I'm noticing there. And Quentin Johnston stayed hot. He had 13 targets and went 8 for 98 and one touchdown. So, Alex, I don't know how you're feeling about Quentin Johnston right now, but
Well, it's funny because I thought the Giants were doing a really good job stifling him, and then all of a sudden he pops off for a touchdown. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? But
he's a touchdown magnet.
I mean, for him, all it takes is one play, drop your guard one time, and Justin Herbert knows to look for him. So that
Agreed.
ended up happening. But meanwhile, man, our one of the front runners for MVP, Justin Herbert, lost and had a terrible game.
Agreed. And I have no idea what's going on with Lad McConkey this year. That is a mystery. Right.
Well, I don't know if he's nursing a nagging injury or because he's the most really feared wide receiver on this team that teams are really keying on him, or just because Keenan Allen is there that they changed Lad McConkey's routes and targets because they overlap too much. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but with Quentin Johnston being wide receiver 4 on the season and Allen being wide receiver 13 on the season, teams are still queuing in on McConkey. They're really not doing a great job overall. They're letting two other weapons gash them.
Yeah. I mean, I really think teams need to play press coverage on Quentin Johnston and two high safeties just to prevent the big touchdown plays that he can cause.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. I would just leave Allen and McConkey to do the death by 1,000 cuts.
Well, that and Hampton. I mean, you do two high safeties. The problem is that Hampton will destroy the defense on the ground. So, I mean, Chargers are
Yeah,
built to have a versatile offense. They just lost this one to the Giants, who now have their first win.
absolutely. And I still think the Chargers are in a good spot. They have a lot of weapons and they have a lot to look forward to. Even good teams lose a bad game here and there, so.
I mean, it feels like just yesterday you're telling me you don't see how the Chargers could lose a single game, and they ended up losing to a winless team.
Well, I don't know if I really said that about the Chargers because I didn't predict them to go undefeated. But one team that I could see go undefeated is the Buffalo Bills. And they played the New Orleans Saints this last week. And the Saints did keep it close, but the Bills do win 31-19. We both picked the Buffalo Bills. We won this matchup. Kamara and Miller seem like they're splitting carries right now, but Kamara is leading the backfield in receiving. James Cook stays white hot right now, and I think he has a touchdown in every game this season so far, which I know you and we questioned very early on what it would look like with Cook this year and with his touchdown regression. Does not look like the touchdown regression is coming this year, which is insane. And Josh Allen has a bit of a day throwing his first interception of the year 4 games in. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the first time I looked at the Saints and thought that they played pretty. I mean, not, I guess week one they played okay, but this was actually more competitive than I anticipated. There was 10-14 or 14-10 if you go with the Bills on top of the Saints after the half. And then the Saints scored six in the third and Buffalo scored seven in the third. So still remained fairly close and competitive until the Bills pulled away in that fourth. I think Miller is the better running back between Miller and Kamara. And I think Kamara at this point should be shocked to recoup some picks for the Saints and maybe go to a team like the Commanders or the Chiefs. Probably the Commanders. They need it more at this point.
Yeah, I could easily see that happen, and I could see Miller lead that backfield in touches the rest of the year. Would definitely throw in a waiver claim on Miller if he's available in your league. Um, we'll see where that leads though, because that could relegate right back to Kamara this upcoming week, and it all could be moot. But the Buffalo Bills defense is banged up right now. You know, Ed Oliver is out, and other key pieces are out as well. And the Saints doing this well on offense doesn't surprise me because the Bills are more of a bend but don't break defense. So they'll give you between the 20s to drive, and then they play really tough red zone defense and hold you to field goals versus let you score touchdowns where they're scoring touchdowns. So that is how their
Well,
defense operates.
I think you're missing your best linebacker, or the Bills are missing their best linebacker as well. And they week five they should potentially be getting their rookie first round cornerback
Mm-hmm.
as well. So we'll see
Grayson.
if he's healthy, if he's good. But Bills also lost their punter, so I don't know if they're who they're gonna sign, but whoever they sign might be a downgrade. So if the Bills punt, they might be in a little bit worse situation defensively.
Yeah, that was an egregious running into the kicker. I think that guy should probably be suspended at least one game. That was pretty egregious and is costing this punter 4 games probably on IR.
Yep.
So
But Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, and Chris Olave saved their weeks with touchdowns. Not a lot of yardage through the air for either team.
still think Olave could be traded before the trade deadline as well. I just don't. I don't see much value in keeping him after trading for Vele and trading and claiming Trey Palmer, and they also traded for Baker for next. Was it Baker or Jalen Polk?
Uh, Polk.
Yep. Sorry, the Patriots drafted them both last year, and neither one of them
They
made a
also
mark last year.
they also signed Brandon Cooks in the offseason too. So they pretty deep at wide receiver.
Yep. So I could see them moving off of Olave and Kamara in the upcoming week.
I think it makes sense to shed contracts here, and Kamara's getting up there in age, so you want to get ahead of that while you can and recoup some picks and be able to restock in the offseason.
Trade Taysom Hill to the Broncos.
We absolutely should.
Possible. He just opened up his practice window for 21 day practice window, so he'll be activated sometime in the next 3 weeks. All right. We spent a lot of time on the Saints there, even though they're probably one of the worst teams in the league. But the next matchup here was two of the best teams in the league, and this is the Eagles at the Buccaneers. You picked the Eagles, I picked the Buccaneers. The Eagles won, as I said, this is the theme this week. Baker did everything possible in this matchup to claw back, but I think he threw a late interception and lost the game 31-25. Do you believe the Bucks offense is missing Mike Evans, that outside receiver, to take away some attention and potentially double coverage? But Abuka and Godwin did lead the way with 10 targets each, but they were very inefficient targets. You had mentioned it seemed like Godwin had a few drops, and Bucky Irving does ball in this matchup, but his status moving forward is in complete question. It's a foot ankle injury of some sort, and he's getting multiple medical opinions, and he may miss this week and future weeks as well. But nothing's been ruled just yet. He had 165 yards in this matchup. And Alex, what is going on with AJ Brown? He seems very disgruntled, and now the head coach is having to answer questions about him. Do you think AJ Brown gets moved anytime soon?
I'm not there yet with him, but I cannot discount the possibility. He is dissatisfied with his role and posting weird quotes or sayings, or I don't know if he's making them up or quoting an actual person, but he is clearly dissatisfied, and I don't blame him considering that Jalen Hurts only completed 15 passes. I would be annoyed too with my usage. I mean, he got beat out by John Mechie. So he had 9 targets. He was the most targeted receiver. They just couldn't get any connection going with him. So maybe they'll trade him back to the Titans and make the world right again, or maybe they'll trade him to a fellow contender. Maybe the Bills would pony up to get a bona fide receiver. Maybe there's someone else out there that would be interested in him as well. I don't know.
So I feel like the Eagles would be petty and trade him to a non-contender, so they wouldn't have to play them in the playoffs slash Super Bowl. But it would be interesting to see what they decide to do there. Like the Titans would be a non-contender, where Brown would have a bigger role, but no shot at the playoffs or the Super Bowl. Might be a case of be careful what you wish.
Well, I'm trying to think here. Let's see who the Eagles play. They do play the Bills the second to last game of the season. So, I mean, you obviously wouldn't want that revenge game. But the Bills will play Kansas City later. They'll play Tampa Bay later. Houston, Pittsburgh. I mean, those are all potential playoff teams that they can beat up on. So, I mean, there may be some advantage there, but it doesn't look like they play anyone of note in the NFC, so they probably wouldn't help. Oh, no, I mean, I guess just Tampa. So it probably wouldn't help too much to trade him to the Bills. So I don't know. I don't think he'd be happy going back to the Titans, but surely they could trade him to a different AFC team to maybe knock out some of the top competitors.
Absolutely. Anything else on this matchup, though, before we move on?
No, we can move on.
We'll have to stay tuned to see AJ Brown news potentially coming up soon. But here we go, Alex. This one you're going to be real excited to talk about is the Titans at the Texans. We both picked the Texans, and the Texans get off of the 0 in the win column. And they get their first victory of the year in a shutout, 26-0. The Titans are struggling to support any fantasy weapons at all, and that includes Kyle Manor. And yeah, I mean Ridley is basically on a milk carton at this point, and it does appear in the fourth quarter that CJ Stroud does finally get right. And it does appear that Woody Marks is taking over the backfield with 119 total yards and 2 total touchdowns. Alex, I know you'll have a lot to say about the Texans, but anything to add on the Titans side of the ball first before you hop over to that?
I mean, Tony Pollard has been rather resilient, somehow managing fantasy relevance each week as a reliable low-end RB2, high-end RB3, despite being on a terrible team that's often in negative game script situations. So he's really the saving grace here. There are flashes of what could be something really good with Ironmanor. That's really all we have right now. They will get easier matchups later in their season. So maybe we'll see things turned around. Maybe if their head coach gets fired and they have an interim, maybe they'll get a bump. But right now, it seems like most of their value is dynasty only. So hopefully they get a new coach that will turn things around for the Texans. Woody Marks is the number one guy you should be picking up off waivers if he's even available in any of your leagues. He is the best chance they have to have a starting running back that's good. Nick Chubb is still going to be used. He's still going to be a short yardage and change of pace guy. He's versatile enough that he can be deployed in different ways. It's just Woody is just healthier and more explosive than he is. Nico Collins had an okay game. We saw Jaden Higgins finally get a touchdown. Christian Kirk hasn't quite taken off yet, but I think it's coming soon. And CJ Stroud and the Texans said that something just clicked in the fourth quarter where it just seemed like they're getting things going and ramping up and finally building connections and momentum. So we'll see if it carries over into week 5. We got to take this with a huge grain of salt because it's against the Titans, but it was somewhat encouraging. I'll just say just somewhat encouraging.
Right. Let's hop over to the next matchup, and I'm glad you finally got a victory here. You joined the one win club of my Panthers, so congratulations. We'll
We're
see
also
next.
right there with the Ravens too, who we play week 5. So
We will see. But the next matchup is the Commanders at the Falcons. As you remember last week, I struggled picking this game because I didn't know for sure if Jaden Daniels would be back. I also knew the Falcons would rebound from last week's shutout, and the Falcons did win this matchup, Alex. Unfortunately, we both picked the Commanders, lost this matchup. Falcons won. The Commanders are running about a 50-50 split in the backfield, so making both of these running backs highly volatile and an avoid situation if at all possible, which is something that we didn't see coming, especially after Austin Eckler went down with his Achilles tear. And it does so Mariota did start this game, as I was mentioning, about Daniels potentially not playing. He didn't play. He should be back this next week, but Deebo Samuel turned out to be the only viable pass catching option for the team, which is interesting. Terry McLaurin is expected to miss. He missed this week. He's expected to miss a little bit more time, potentially with a quad injury that he's had multiple opinions on, which never sounds like a good thing. And then if we flip it over to the Atlanta side, they came off of a terrible matchup against the Panthers, but they righted the ship here. London, Pitt, Bijan, and Penix, all of their first round picks, have respectable days, and yeah, I
Even
don't think,
Algier.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
he's not a former first, but yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying. He's not going to go away, and Bijan had said that early in the off season that they're going to be a 1A, 1B type situation. We didn't buy it really, and he does contribute though. All
I
right,
think
anything?
Darnell Moon. Yeah, I think Darnell Mooney picked up an injury in this one. I think the Falcons are they going on bye this coming week?
Yes, it's the Falcons, Bears, Packers, and Steelers. We'll talk about that in our week 5.
So they were saying he'll probably be back week 6. So he doesn't miss a game, but they are going on bye. Which stinks if you have Bijan Robinson, Drake London, because you're gonna be missing that production that week, but we'll talk about that. I think the Commanders should have won this one. I know it's crazy considering the numbers that some of these weapons have put up for Atlanta, but it always felt like the Commanders were in this one. It felt like they were going to come back and win, but they just didn't score enough in the end. And I think, obviously, if Jaden Daniels was healthy, I think they would have won this one pretty handedly. If they can't make up their minds with the running game, then I think that they're gonna need someone like a Kamara to come step up.
We will see. But Ja'Cory was Bill or whatever we want to call him was going very high in fantasy draft.
I still like him. I mean, if it wasn't for one long run for Chris Rodriguez, then Ja'Cory would have been the best for sure on the stat sheet too. I do like that Luke McCaffrey is showing some explosiveness. I mean, he's been doing well with returns, but on top of that, he got a touchdown in this one. And if I remember correctly, he had a pretty solid game a couple weeks ago, or no, just last week. He had a solid game too. So it's two touchdowns in the last 2 games. I would love to see more from him.
Absolutely. Could he live up to his older brother's shadow? And we will see. I do. I have been noticing what he's doing, and Debo and McLaurin are older wide receivers in the league right now, so is a spot for potential injury filling and a potential bigger role as it goes on. Great. Anything else
All
on
right,
this matchup?
nope. We have the Colts at Rams next. We both went Rams. The Rams pulled it off 20. Adonai Mitchell, who I really liked as a prospect, finally had a big game, but then he fumbled in the end zone and lost the touchdown, turned it into a touchback for the Rams. This close to huge breakout. But no, the Colts hung in it. Adnan Mitchell had a game that makes you question whether or not he potentially should start in lineups this coming week. Warren is constantly being used, and that's very good for people who need tight ends out there. Michael Pittman staying relevant each week. Josh Downs is an afterthought, and this whole offense runs through Jonathan Taylor. So he, to me, is probably the best fantasy running back NFL talent wise. I know your local James Cook is number one in points, but I really like Jonathan Taylor for real football and fantasy a little bit more.
He can take over a game, absolutely. Jones didn't play as well in this one here, but it was impressive that the team was able to keep it as close as they were in a 27-20 road game. And as you mentioned, A.D. Mitchell was this close to a breakout game. I know you mentioned that Pittman was staying involved, but 10 targets is nothing to laugh over. And on the Rams side, Adams got some love. He was questionable going into this game, so I don't think he played his full role. But Puka Nakua, it seems like he gets injured every game and comes back, but he is an absolute beast. And he gets the hard yard. He is the Cooper Cup role, because I remember Cooper Cup getting the hard yards over the middle and leaving the game injured and coming back, and it's just interesting that they found these two diamonds in a rough receivers in a row.
It's also funny that Tutu Atwell basically had the same kind of play that Adonai Mitchell had, but he actually kept possession of the ball and got the touchdown on his lone catch, one of two targets. But
Mitchell there must have been like a gust of wind or something, because no one was near him when he dropped the ball.
I think he got bumped and then he juggled it for like 2 seconds. Like, dude, come on. He juggled for like 2 seconds and like 10 yards and like, dude, get it.
I don't know, man. Those are those plays that are just boneheaded, and I'd love to have him back. All
All
right.
right, Kyron Williams took over this one for the Rams. Blake Corum didn't really threaten him in this game, so it's going to be weird watching their usage. Obviously, you lean Kyron Williams until otherwise, but Blake Corum for a couple games there was threatening his workload and was potentially getting into the flex play, but not in this matchup.
Absolutely. Kyron is the guy to own right now. Yeah, I don't really have anything else on this matchup, do you?
Nope. Let's keep powering through these and then we'll go to our week 5 matchups. So next we have the Niners and the Jaguars matchup. We both went Niners. They proceeded to get everyone hurt in this game except for Christian McCaffrey, and they fumbled this game to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are making Travis Etienne look like one of the best running backs in the league right now and making all of their pass catchers look terrible. This really was battle of the running backs, and really not much to add. Both quarterbacks had their struggles.
Absolutely. It was a close one, as you mentioned. I do love ETN, and I love brother too. His brother actually got some run in Carolina that we didn't. And could we have two ETN brothers running the league like Delvin and James? So be interesting there. Brian Thomas Jr., the curious case of Brian Thomas Jr. He needs to bounce back real soon, or people are gonna start questioning why they spent a first or early second round pick on him, and it's not looking good right now. But the Jaguars are 3-1 somehow. I know that you were telling me once upon a time the Texans had no competition in the division, but they have two 3-1 teams that they're looking up at right now. And the The only weapon that stays healthy for the 49ers, surprise, surprise, is CMC. He gets it done through the air this game, not so much through the ground. But surprise, surprise, he's the healthy one.
Yeah, it's either the German medical procedure he went through or he sacrificed some crazy stuff to the football gods.
Well, we remember going into week 1, he showed up with a injury. I think it was like a calf or something. And I don't think it was it was, but either way, he showed up with that and he's been fully healthy the entire year. But I remember everyone panicking before week 1, like, oh my gosh, he's injured. Don't touch him and move off of him. But yeah, impressive that the Jaguars won this one on the road, 26-21.
All right. Well, let's move forward to the what should have been epic showdown between the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. We both picked the Ravens. They lost 20-37 to Kansas City, who all of a sudden acted like their offense was functional as soon as Xavier Worthy came back. And not what we expected here. Lamar Jackson got banged up in this one and is likely out for a few weeks. And Justice Hill took over the backfield over Derrick Henry. They just gave up on Derrick Henry as soon as they got behind. A little alarming there, and might be more to come there if Cooper Rush is your quarterback for the next couple weeks. Zay Flowers remaining the top guy there. Mark Andrews got a ton of catches, but not really a good fantasy start for him. And Xavier Worthy also got the most rushing yards in this matchup for the Chiefs. Don't really know what to make of that and wasn't really expecting him to get two big rushes in Rashard Smith finally getting some play. So I don't know what's going on here.
Pacheco's starting to look good too, but
Worthy got the most rushing yards, but Isaiah Pacheco got a receiving touchdown. Everything's backwards.
hey, expect the unexpected right now. But I will say that we should rewind a little bit here to Lamar Jackson. And it really felt like watching the broadcast, it felt like a mysterious injury in the third. He just like walked over to the sideline, wanted to throw his helmet, sat on the bench, didn't get back up off the bench. Didn't seem like he was getting medical attention. So if you think this is a hamstring something or another, you'd think he'd be getting medical attention or heating pads or something to keep it loose. He didn't really have a limp either, so I'm really wondering like what the heck happened here. Like it wasn't a very obvious injury situation. He didn't come up, he didn't pull up, he didn't limp off the field. I'm really confused right now on this injury that is potentially looming over Lamar Jackson.
No, maybe he was mad that they wouldn't put Henry back in.
Well, is it possible that he walked off the field mad and refused to go back in, and now this is a save face, made up injury to save face?
Well, what purpose would he have to walk off the field?
He was upset, like very upset. He wanted to slam his helmet and everything. The interesting part for me was he was not getting medical attention on the sideline.
I know, but what was he upset about?
I have no idea. No, not a real idea. Like, maybe he was upset the Chiefs had his number.
That's rather immature for a former MVP in the league and someone who could have been in the MVP race, but I don't know what he would have to be upset about. And I don't think he's a Deontay Johnson type player or an Anthony Richardson type player. I mean, it could just be you missed the limp. I don't know.
Yeah, I just find it weird that he didn't get hardly any medical attention when he went to the sideline. They even showed him sitting on the bench by himself. So
I mean, maybe we just missed it. Maybe we missed Maybe they talked before the game and he was already sensitive and he just felt it. And maybe he toughed it out walking off the field.
Yeah, it's possible. I was watching him walk towards handshakes and everything. No way. I don't understand what was going on. His body language wasn't great in that moment either.
All right, well, you're welcome to look for something, but I'm not sure that there's anything there. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. But let's go ahead and move on to the next game here, which is the Bears at the Raiders. Split prediction here. I went Bears, you went Raiders. For a second, it looked like you were going to be right, but Chicago came back in the fourth to win it 25-24. So I skated by in this one, and this is despite the Raiders quarterback Geno Smith throwing 3 interceptions.
What's going
It
on
seems
there?
like he's it seems like he's throwing 3 interceptions every week. So they don't have another viable quarterback unless Aiden O'Connell's magically healthy. And I don't know what else they could do, but surely the ground game was working, so I don't know why they didn't give Genty and Raheem Mostert, who ended up playing over White this week. They both had great games. They both had big plays, and they were far more successful than their counterparts on the Bears. I mean, neither Swift or Kyle Monagai really had good rushes this week, and even Caleb Williams was stifled on the ground as well. Very interesting that Chicago even won this game, but I mean, they were given so many chances. It would be embarrassing if
Yeah.
they got that many turnovers and lost it.
Well, it was a blocked kick, and I don't know how many matchups you've won this year on blocked kicks against me this year, which is insane. Because if you think about previously, this never happened. Now all of a sudden, special teams is this important. As you mentioned, Chicago's run game is just it's terrible. I don't even know what to do there at this exact moment, unless they trade for Elvin Kamara or something like that. Speaking of the Bears, they should consider trading DJ Moore. They probably should do it this week on the bye week. They should really figure out the best offer, ship them off, come out of the bye week with a game plan to use Burden and DJ Moore or not DJ Moore, Roma Dunze going forward. And DJ Moore would be on his new team, learning a new playbook on the off week. I think that would be the best case scenario for all parties. And Genti, as you mentioned, best game of the year, 155 and 2 total touchdowns. Now he's at running back 12 on the year, so he is creeping up there towards where our bet was, and we'll see if he can continue that.
Maybe they trade DJ Moore back to the Panthers because he would be a nice complement to.
He would be, but Bryce Young is so bad right now that I don't want to add any more expensive weapons or get rid of any picks to acquire a wide receiver. I think we need to start looking in house at what we can do at the quarterback.
But your mention of special teams reminded me. I lost a league match this week. Well, I lost a match in one of my leagues because I didn't realize that the teams in that league they don't give your defense points for special teams touchdowns. I'm like, are you kidding me? Started the Patriots defense and I didn't get the punt return touchdown and lost because of it. That's me crazy, man. Oh.
Hey, special teams matters. There's 3 facets to the game.
Well, it's called defense and special teams in almost every league.
Yep.
And they turned off the special teams points.
Do individual players still get those special team points?
Individual players can get the return touchdown, but the defense and special teams doesn't get the special teams touchdowns. It's dumb. Made me mad.
Great. Move on to the last 3 games. We got a prime time game here, and it was a barn burner. It was the Packers at the Cowboys. We both picked the Packers. We both lost this matchup, but not because the Cowboys won. It's because Dak and Love battle, and no one wins this game in a 40-40 tie. So,
Do we ever predict ties? Do we only go wins and losses?
I mean, I don't like ties. I think the NFL should look at a way to get rid of ties, but that's not going to be solved on this podcast unless Roger Goodell is listening right now.
Well, I've heard the best solution I've heard is allow only one team to kick a field goal.
There you go. I mean, this was a fun game. Very, very fun game. George Pickens looks good as the number one this week, and I really think that this time with CeeDee Lamb out is going to really help the chemistry grow between George Pickens and Dak Prescott. But when CeeDee Lamb does come back, they will complement each other a lot more than if they didn't have the time to grow. Be interesting when CD comes back what this offense looks like. And from the Packers side, it would be real nice if the Packers wide receivers could distinguish themselves from one another. I know Dobbs had 2 or 3 touchdowns in this game. Not a lot of targets, not a lot of catches.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the memes, but people were like, why is Dobbs getting all the looks from Jordan Love? And they showed the Guardian helmet and they just made his head even bigger, easily noticeable because of how ginormous his helmet looks.
Did you notice that he's not the only receiver for the Packers that has, I think, Savion Williams has that too.
Well, I mean,
I
he's
know.
not up there.
What if the whole crew wore that?
Then I don't think Dobbs would have gotten the targets that he got. I literally think could it could be that he just stands out more.
Bigger the helmet, the more the targets, like the big cap.
Exactly.
I know you like that big cap. Oh,
I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but I would like to think that it does, but I don't think that there's enough data yet to prove it.
there isn't, and the data that's out there right now says that they're about equally as safe. Which concussions are going down still, and the helmets are getting safer. The game's getting safer.
Speaking of concussions, we have the Jets at the Dolphins, and
Were you
despite
referring
Tua
to
looking a
Fields
little,
or Tua?
well, both of them. Fields coming off the concussions, and Tua the perennially concussed. Uh, and it looked like the Jets were going after his head at one point in this game, which is not good. But Tua survived alive this one. Tyreek Hill did not survive this game, or at least his knee didn't survive this game, and dislocated it, tore some ligaments here. I just lost my camera, but all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyreek dislocated his knee, and at first I was Googling dislocated kneecap, which I learned that this is different from a dislocated kneecap. This is actually a lot more serious, and it's an injury that usually produces multiple ligament tears, and he did have multiple ligament tears. And not only did he have multiple ligament tears, he also has already had successful surgery. They believe it'll be a one and only surgery, so this won't be like a cell. And basically, Tyreek should be able to fully return and healthy by the beginning of next season because he will not need an additional surgery like Tank Dell did last year. Alex, do you think Tyreek makes it back?
I think he's done.
Done. Okay.
Well, he's previously said he doesn't like he has a limited time that he's going to keep playing and he's going to call it quits. And we're at that proposed timeline, and he completely destroyed his knee. So I like him coming back next year. He wouldn't be 100%. Don't know if I would trust him. And I don't know if Miami's going to be better next year. So if I was him, I would potentially call it quits. It just depends on how much money is left on the table. that he might have to surrender.
I think Miami has to seriously start looking at new quarterbacks also.
Yeah, I don't think Tua's it, and you're gonna be worried about concussions with him
Well, and
forever.
he's not gonna be an over the hump guy, so I think if you don't have that guy, you really should try to move on as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
What'd you think about Darren Waller's return?
I think he made the most of it efficiency-wise. I mean, he caught 3 of 4 targets, and 2 of them were for touchdowns. Not much yardage, and he might end up getting more usage with Tyreek Hill out. But I'm also looking at Malik Washington to pick up some of the slack as well. Maybe we'll get some more Nick Westbrook and Kine. We'll see if he becomes involved more or not. But this team runs through Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle for the foreseeable future. For the Jets, I mean, with Braylon Allen going down and missing a few weeks, everyone who drafted Breece Hall can breathe a sigh of relief a little bit that he's going to continue to be the primary ball carrier here, and maybe the Jets will pick it up going forward. But really, Fields, Hall, and Garrett Wilson are the only one on the Jets side that I would start on a week-to-week basis.
Absolutely. Do you think that Fields? Where are you with Fields right now in your Fields?
He's a viable fantasy quarterback, borderline viable NFL quarterback. I mean, there's times that he flashes, there's times that he looks good. His offenses score a decent amount of points. I just think he's always on a bad team. It's hard to judge him for that.
Yeah, I don't think he raises anybody though. I think that's part of the issue, but I love to watch him rush. That rushing touchdown was a thing of beauty. Does he have a second act as a running back in the league?
I think he could be one of those gadget running backs. Bring back the Wildcat.
And Chan mentioned offline, I don't know if it was to you, but I've mentioned it to other people that I believe that he could be a league winner this year, and he continues to look good. I know people were trying to stay away from him after that happened. But 4 weeks in, no additional injury yet, so gonna cross my fingers on that one. All right. We have the Bengals at the Broncos up next, Alex, and we both picked the Broncos. Broncos won 28-3. Browning and the Bengals look terrible. They look done as a team. But for the Broncos side of the ball, Bo Nix has a very up and down night. He made some really bad throws, but he does end his night with over 40 attempts, and he did get it together a little bit. But J.K. Dobbins was the real story here. 16 carries, 101 yards. So that is huge for a second year quarterback to have that run support that Devontae and crew really didn't give him last year. Anything more from the Broncos or the Bengals side of the ball here?
So for the Broncos, they finally narrowed it down to just 2 running backs this week, and Beatty saw a back seat. Harvey got some run when the game was pretty much won. So it was mostly JK for the majority of the game, but it's nice to see Harvey get mixed in there. Cortland Sutton was kind of an afterthought until that late touchdown. And Marvin Mims is edging out Troy Franklin on production and touches, but Troy Franklin is getting more targets. So that's interesting to monitor. I really feel like they're almost on equivalent footing, and it's going to be kind of random week to week. Evan Ingram seems like his fantasy hopes are dead at this point until he shows signs of life. Speaking of signs of life, the Bengals have shown none at this point, and honestly, between how bad Jake Browning has been and how awful the offensive line has been, I don't know if you've seen that video of them blocking or lack of blocking against the Broncos, where they have 4 linemen trying to block the defensive tackle on a 3-man rush. The defensive ends completely run around the tackles and go straight for the quarterback. It's pathetic. It's the most pathetic offensive line I've ever seen, and it's not like they don't have the bodies. I just think the coaching is probably the worst coaching I've ever seen. And is this the case where Joe Burrow just made the coach look like he's a good coach, and without Joe Burrow, they're nothing? I feel like they need to fire the entire offensive coaching staff.
And that's possible, but it's also possible that the team gave up once Joe Burrow went down too, which is
Well,
just as bad.
Ja'Marr Chase didn't seem like he gave up in this one. He got to a conversation, an impassioned conversation with the coach on the sideline. So he's not happy with the direction, and I think they have to acquire a new quarterback. They cannot continue with Jake Browning. They have to bring in like Russell Wilson is the most available player at this point. He is very tradable contract. He's very likely to be able to step in sooner rather than later. They have to do something.
Yeah, and speaking of something, I did throw out on X something today. Is it time for the Bengals to consider and explore moving off of Joe Burrow? And the only reason I ask that is because there is a great chance that next year that Joe Burrow is the comeback player of the year. And if he does that, that will be his third time winning the award. You know how injured and hurt you have to be in order to win it 3 times in your career, let alone 3 times before you're 30?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Just don't know who they could trade him to be honest.
Yeah. There are about 8 teams in the NFC because this is a situation where you only trade the quarterback to the NFC, first of all. That could potentially use him and give up 3 first-round picks. But the first stop here is going to be in the NFC North, and the Packers are set. But if you look at the Bears, if Ben Johnson doesn't think Caleb Williams is quarterback, does he trade Caleb Williams plus picks for Joe Burrow? One area that I would look at that at. Same thing with Kevin O'Connell, with JJ McCarthy. If he decides JJ McCarthy isn't it, does he trade JJ, reunite Burrow and Justin Jefferson? So that is a potential. The Cardinals, because I know you say that it's time for them to move off of Kyler Murray. And Sam Darnold's only really on a 1-year deal here, and the Seahawks could be in the market for a quarterback. So there's a lot of teams that could actually potentially use a Joe Burrow in the NFC next year. So the sweepstakes could be big and really quick.
I just think you would lose Ja'Marr Chase if you didn't get a quarterback in return. So I just can't see them actually do it.
JJ McCarthy, Caleb Williams.
I think honestly the coach needs to go. I think that's what needs to happen. But
I think that
I haven't liked
might
him for a
happen.
while now.
That might happen. This might buy him another year, though. He might be able to walk into his GM's office and be like, I didn't have Burrow this year again, so let's move off Burrow instead of me. I don't know how convincing he'll be, but I know that would be my pitch if I was him.
All right, let's move on to our week 5 primer here and just let's power through these. We will just remind you that the bye weeks start this week. Falcons, Bears, Packers, and Steelers are all off. So we just have 14 matchups to pick. And we'll start with the Thursday night matchup. Again, it's a NFC West matchup. And this time it is the 49ers and the Rams. Looks like I am up first, and I am going the Rams at home against a very banged up 49ers team. Jeff, who do you have here this week?
Feeling this could be a Mac Jones game, and we don't know who's going to be at wide receiver, so give me the Rams. This could be a Blake Corum game. Also, just coming off of a short week, and they might decide to give the backup running back some extra carry.
Could be. All right,
And it
let's
would
go.
and it wouldn't mean much for Kyron Williams if Corum does get a 50-50 split in this one, typically running back.
All right, let's go. Vikings at Browns in London town Sunday morning. Jeff, who do you have in this matchup?
In all likelihood, we're going to get Dylan Gabriel starting this game against Carson Wentz. We could still see Joe Flacco. We could still see JJ McCarthy. So there's a lot up in the air. But I think the Vikings defense is good. I don't think the Browns offense is good. I think the Vikings offense is at least passable, and I think the Browns defense is good. I think the Vikings are the only team that probably scores points in this game, so give me the Vikings.
This has a chance to be an extremely low-scoring game. Vikings defense isn't very good against the run, and Quinshon Judkins looks really good. Dylan Gabriel, if he starts, might just be solid enough to keep the chains moving, if not light up the scoreboard. The Browns defense might be the best defense in the league. The Vikings have been very vulnerable to the blitz, so Myles Garrett could have a huge game. Vikings also have the advantage of staying in Europe for that week and already acclimatized. If it was in the States, I'd potentially feel comfortable picking the Browns in this one, to be honest with you. I think Vikings have the edge, but I am going to go wild this week, and I'm going to pick the Browns.
The Vikings are 3.5-point favorite. The over/under is 35.5, which is very low.
I think it should be lower. I'd hit the under on that, to be honest with you.
Really?
Like, this might be a little hyperbolic, but this might be a 3-0 game. I think honestly, it's probably like a 13-10 game. Something like that.
I'll laugh when that is what it is, but they don't have any passing, receiving, or rushing props up yet because guess what? Vegas has no idea who's going to be the quarterbacks for these two teams either.
Yeah. Whoever is starting, it should be a low scoring game. Now that I've said that, it's going to be 60-57 or something stupid. But
That's the over.
no, but man, it is going to be a defensive matchup, and it's who makes the least amount of mistakes.
Absolutely. You know what's crazy is that FanDuel has Brock Purdy props right now. And if Brock doesn't play,
Yeah.
that's a quick, easy win if you bet the unders.
Yep.
There's no receiving props at all for the 49ers. Not even Christian McCaffrey is up on there right now.
That's crazy.
All
All
I
right,
know.
let's power through it here. Let's go on to the Cowboys at the Jets. I'm taking the Cowboys in this matchup. They're a better offense. They should be able to outpace the Jets. The Jets starters should be usable in fantasy, but I expect the Cowboys to win this one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm going to go the Cowboys in this matchup. It might be a little bit closer, but the Jets are coming off of a short week as well.
All right. Broncos at Eagles. Jeff, you get to go first on this one.
Eagles seem like they're having a lot of infighting, but I can't bet against the Eagles just yet, and I have to go the Eagles.
I'm going the Eagles as well. I like the Eagles' talent more than what the Broncos are working with at the moment. I think the Broncos are still a good team, but I'm not sure that they know who they are yet and what their identity is yet. And they're on the road.
Yep. And surprisingly though, the Eagles only have a 4.5-point lead, but they're also coming off of a short week, and I think they'll make Bo Nix look a little foolish in this one. So
Don't be surprised if we come
You
here
mean
next week.
the Broncos are coming off of a short week, and they're on the road in this one.
Yep. And don't be surprised if Bo Nix looks a little foolish in this one.
Yep, the Eagles defense, even banged up, is still a formidable team.
They made Baker look a little foolish last week, and we know Baker's not.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. 3 MVP candidate quarterbacks looked foolish. All 3 of them had bad weeks this week, including Josh Allen, who got a win.
Yeah, he does just enough to get a win right now, which I appreciate because we need to hold off the Superman performances for the playoff. But for fantasy, I get where that's a little frustrating. All right, Texans at Ravens are next up. Alex, I really want to hear you break this one down because here we go.
If the Texans are ever going to win against the Ravens, it's going to be when Lamar Jackson's out and Cooper Rush is starting. So, should Lamar Jackson's injury be a real injury and he sits out this week, I am going the Houston Texans. Their offense gets to play against a struggling Ravens defense as well. Even though it is on the road, I favor the Texans. If Lamar Jackson's playing, I will change my mind and flip back to the Ravens.
I'm gonna go the Ravens with this because I do believe in their coaching a little bit more. And I think Cooper Rush can get a victory here.
All right. We have the Raiders at the Colts, Jeff. Who are you going here?
The Raiders at the Colts. I do expect the Colts to easily get a victory in this matchup, and give me the Colts.
Okay. It's really hard for me to go for the Raiders in this one. I mean, I'm not saying they can't do it, but
They lost their best lineman.
yeah, they lost their best offensive lineman, and Gino throws interceptions like he's throwing candy to children. So, I mean, I'm going to go the Colts at home.
Could be a pretty handily matchup too, especially with if Taylor's running the ball.
It's almost an even matchup, but the Colts edge out the Raiders on both sides of the ball. So
They're 6.5 point favorite currently, so something to watch out for. Next up is the Dolphins at Panthers. Dolphins coming off of a short week. Bryce Young looking like trash right now. Tyreek knee is trash right now. This matchup is not for the weak, for sure. You have to be a real football fan to watch this matchup. I think the Panthers will score here, but Alex, I'm gonna let you pick first because it is actually your turn.
I'm actually going to go the Panthers on this one. They're 1-0 at home this year. Dolphins are 0-2 on the road. Both of them are roughly the same kind of power rank. Both of them roughly had the same strength of schedule. Panthers offense and defense are higher than both for Miami. Miami also lost Tyreek Hill. I am going the Panthers in a narrow victory here.
Panthers are 1.5 point underdogs, but we should let the doggies out in this one. The Panthers will win this matchup as well.
Okay, another close game. We've got 4 in a row here, I feel like. Maybe even 5 with this next one after that, too. But Giants at the Saints. Giants who lost their number 1 pass catcher in Neighbors. Jeff, can the Giants overcome that Neighbors injury, and who do you have between these two guys? These
So
two
for
teams.
me, I think the Giants are going to be a little overrated in this matchup coming off of the victory last week. I think the Saints people are viewing very low right now, but I think these teams are very, very evenly matched. I do like the offensive skill position players on the Saints a little bit better. I think Rattler and Dart, like their skill level right now is very similar. I know Dart got a win. Don't shoot the messenger on this one. But give me the Saints in this matchup.
So you have the Saints getting their first victory, man.
Sir, they're gonna get the off of the win list column.
And this is so tough because I feel like my gut wants to go Giants, but
It does, because they looked so good last week. But I think the public are going to overrate them.
yeah, it's not a case of overrate. It's more of selling on the Saints, to be honest with you. But I think Giants have the quarterback edge over Rattler. I mean, I think he's been serviceable this year. I don't think he's been great. The offense can't get on the same page. They're going to bring in Taysom Hill this week.
Dart wasn't great either, though. I think that their skill level right now is pretty similar.
Yeah, but Dart can get movement on the ground himself.
Rattler can too. They're both scrambling quarterbacks.
I mean, Rattler kind of. I mean, Dart is a lot more athletic than Rattler is. Man, it's tough. No, I'm gonna go with the Saints because I think that they can score more.
They need to
And
get a
they're
win too.
yeah.
Is this one of the last winless teams? I believe it is. It's pretty close. The Jets and them
Yeah, them and the Jets,
both
the
could win this week
Titans.
too.
Yeah, the Titans are winless.
Yep. Don't expect them to win anytime soon.
All right. We got the
Buccaneers at the
Buccaneers at
Seahawks.
Seahawks. And this is another close one.
Giving you all the close ones.
I've noticed.
This matchup is exactly a 3-point favorite for the Seahawks at home. But this means that it's virtually even.
And the Buccaneers are more banged up than the Seahawks are. There's a chance Bucky Irving doesn't play this week, in which case you want to fire up Rashad White and Sean Tucker. I just think the Seahawks are a very mid to above average team. And the Buccaneers might have their left tackle back this week. So, and second week of Godwin, maybe he'll be a little bit better. Oh man, I had the Seahawks initially. I think I'm gonna go Buccaneers. I believe in the Buccaneers more, and I believe in Baker more than Darnold.
Yeah, and this might be Evan's last missed game, and he might be back starting the following week. We'll see. Yeah, give me the Buccaneers as well in this matchup. This one could be really close, though. I will say that this might actually be a high-scoring game.
All right, Jeff, you gave yourself the Titans at Cardinals. Who you
Give
got
me the
in this
Cardinals.
one?
Cardinals.
I mean, this could be an upset week, but I have to go the Cardinals as well.
8 favorites. 8.5-point
It's,
favorite.
I'm saying 7.5, but if Cardinals don't win this one, then they look pretty pathetic.
They do. They also have the extra rest, which does actually come into play into the Seahawks and the Buccaneers as well. The Seahawks have the extra 3 days rest going
Yep.
into that matchup. So that and Baker and crew have been a little banged up lately, so that could be the difference in that matchup. But I'm still gonna go Buccaneers. All right, next matchup, Alex. This one is really hard. I give you another really hard one here. The Lions at the Bengals.
You actually gave me an easy one. I appreciate that. I'm going Lions. Pretty
Yeah.
handedly.
Is this the Battle of the Cats?
It's another cat battle.
All right. We haven't had a bird bowl yet, but we've had a cat battle or two. All
Yeah,
right, give me the
there's no
Lions as well.
there's no bird battle. We did have a horse battle a couple weeks ago. All
And I believe
right,
it's a bird bowl because that's what you call it, a bird bowl.
bird bowl. I don't think we have one this week,
All right.
but
So we have the
we do have
command.
a battle of the C teams here. We got the Commanders at the Chargers.
Yes, sir. All right. I am assuming Jaden Daniels is back this week. Don't really know, but it doesn't really matter to me. I'm gonna go the Chargers. They're gonna rebound after last week.
Yeah, I'm going the Chargers as well. They're a better team all around than the Commanders, with
Yep.
or without Jaden Daniels.
Surprising though that they're only 2.5-point favorites at home. Ooh. So if this was in Washington, this would be a 3.5-point favorite for Washington.
I don't know why it's so close, but I feel pretty confidently in the Chargers.
Someone's following the money.
All right, to Sunday night. You got the Sunday night matchup here. It's the Patriots at the Bills.
All right, two red, white, and blue teams. I am going the Bills at home. Hard to pick against them. Patriots seem like an ascending team, but I don't think it's quite time for them to upset the Bills yet.
I don't think you're going to upset the Bills in prime time, and give me the Bills. This is the one time
All
where
right,
they're
Jeff,
dialed in.
you get to close out with the Chiefs at the Jaguars.
So we have the 2-2 Chiefs at the 3-1 Jaguars. I didn't think I would be saying that. The Chiefs are 3-point favorites. They look extremely good on offense. I gotta go with the Chiefs in this matchup.
I am also going the Chiefs in this matchup. Mahomes looks like he's back. Worthy looks good. We'll see if they can get anything going on the ground, but the defense for the Chiefs might be difficult for the Jaguars to deal with this week.
I agree. I think the Chiefs defense made Lamar's life miserable last week, and I think they'll do the same to Lawrence this week.
All right. Well, that wraps up this episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast. Thank you all for downloading and listening to this episode, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please leave us a comment and share the show. Every little bit helps.
You can find us on all podcasting apps by searching N2 Fantasy, and with our handle N2E Fantasy on all social media platforms. Please join our community and give us a follow. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and remember, it's truly never too early for fantasy football. Thank you again.
Hi, everybody.